Hi, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Trident Talks. I'm Josh, the CEO and founder of Trident. Today, I'm joined by Luigi, CEO and co-founder of BforeAI. Luigi, thank you for joining.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for the invite.
Luigi, everyone knows you. You're very big personal brand and social presence. I knew you'd like that. I knew you'd like that. But in all seriousness, can you give us a kind of quick introduction on terms of who you are, your background, and then we're going to BforeAI?
Sure. Listen, as my name and accent unveil, Italian, living in France since 25 years, spending more and more time in New York City in the last couple of years. Very passionate about computers. Started when I was 4 years old. My father put me in front of the first PC in the south of Italy. I still use that keyboard 40 years later. It's here in front of me at home. Works pretty well. Clicky IBM keyboard. That brought me to work at Dell Computer. That's when I came to France. I stayed there for about 20 years. All self-learned. So started in tech support, doing hotline was called at the time for server and storage product, and then moved through sales and marketing and product development and product management and merger and acquisition. So spent a long career, 26 jobs, I think, in 18 years. And then decided to retire, went back to my other passion, the speed. Used to be a Formula 3 driver before coming to France. So I literally went back on track, win my cars across all the circuits in Europe, from Donington and Brands Hatch to Mugello and Catalonia, passing by Portimao and Spa-Francorchamps. And as I was doing that, got invited to a research institute where they were running a research to startup program, and got exposed to what today is PreCrime. So this technology that we took from the research institute and developed that enable us to predict sources of future cyber attacks and block attacks before victims are made. This is the business of BforeAI. We do own the PreCrime brand, trademark. People may remember Minority Report, the movie with Tom Cruise a few years ago, where PreCrime was coined. Well, 20th Century Fox never trademarked that name, so we have it. And our business is now about 4 years old, grows about 20% every month, mostly in the US. We have social media as customer. We have banks like Revolut, like Atlassian, from software, Confluence and Jira protected by BforeAI. We have retailers like Primark, and so on and so forth. So large companies across multiple sectors trust our technology to predict and preempt attacks.
So you've recently raised Series B, right?
Correct. Yeah, we announced the Series B, mid-January. This with Titanium Ventures. It follows by 6 months the close of the Series A, and quite quick last year. Most of the funds actually from Series A were still in the bank, and the reason we did this fundraise is really because we wanted to work with Titanium Ventures and their go-to-market team. And so we did a very small Series B of $10 million just to do the bare minimum that they would accept to get their allocation and get in.
Okay, yeah, nice, congrats. So more of a strategic move, right, as opposed to need the runway, need capital. Because I obviously, I know a lot of your guys, and I know the business is performing exceptional, like compared to the market averages. Like, we know that. Okay, so tell us about PreCrime. What does it actually mean? Like, I see the trademark everywhere, and congrats on getting that trademarked away from the recording studios in Hollywood. But tell us about it and what does it actually mean?
Yeah, I mean, the way to think about it is like a weather forecast system for internet. So we constantly scan the whole internet, collecting network metadata, and then this network metadata is transformed by our machine learning system in behaviors for all the infrastructure connected to internet. So how they move, how they get configured, how they get created, and so on. And then we train the system. It's a predictive AI, not generative AI. So we train the predictive AI to identify patterns of future maliciousness by giving examples of infrastructures that have been used for malicious intent before. And so now, it's like in a weather forecast system, you see all the clouds moving, and the model know that if the clouds and the temperature and the wind are in a certain configuration, it's going to rain. Well, very similarly, we know that if that infrastructure is moving in a certain way and going in a certain direction and doing certain changes, then it's going to be used for the attack. Our prediction are median 3 weeks before the attack starts, 99 to 95% correct, so much correct that we guarantee them. We provide what we call the PreCrime performance guarantee. So if one of our customers get hit by an attack after we missed or had a wrong prediction, we cover the cost of the attack 10 times the value of our contract, no question asked. And this is backed by Munich Re, the global insurance company that analyzed our system and found that basically they'll never have to pay because it's so good, but also that is very reliable and constant in this very low false positive rate.
How I'm just now thinking from an investor point of view, is that not such a big risk, or is it de-risked because Munich Re are backing you, and they're like, well, if they believe and their underwriters believe that it's worth underwriting BforeAI, then there's like very small risk, but it's much big upside, right? For a customer.
Correct. From a company perspective, we had to put the hard work in to get the product right. Munich Re has the skill to realize that this risk specific for them is very low, and the win-win here is for the end user and the customer that not only get a preemptive solution that block the attacks before the attack happened, that is ultimately you're not buying any insurance because you want to be paid by the insurance. You want to just be covered in case it happens. So first, we're getting them that avoidance of the attack, but shall we make a mistake? Because healthy skepticism about us predicting the future, I fully understand. Shall we make the mistake? Then they're still covered. And so while it's not a cyber insurance, but a performance guarantee of our product, because our product cover about 95 to 98% of the cyber attack types and volumes, then it's nearly there in terms of risk coverage. We're seeing actually very interesting large corporations that in the last few years have been increasing their deductibles of cyber insurance to maintain the premium of the cyber insurance manageable. Now they may be sitting on 2 million, 5 million, 10 million deductibles. They actually like our product because we cover that deductible. So instead of them self-insuring that space, they get in a predictive and preemptive solution that they still need anyway because they want to avoid the attack. Plus, they now cover the deductible. So that's good for everybody.
Yeah. And it's quite public because you've made it public that you are doing quite long-term contracts with these customers, right? There's a lot of long-term faith.
The average contract length at the moment is about 28 months. So most of our contracts have 3 years paid up front. We recently closed a 5 years paid up front on a CapEx deal with a utility company in the US. We have a 10 years contract being negotiated with another manufacturing company. So to your point, what we do is so unique and special that those customers realize it's going to take a long time for others to match it. And we show through our service that we can be trusted to be there when they need it before the attack happens.
How do I get a job in your sales team? Because a 10-year contract in commission is in all seriousness, that's either you have a very, very great product and or a very, very good sales team that understands how to build good trust with relationships with customers.
I think it's both, right? To me, it's people buy from people. The product, of course, has to be the checkbox there that deliver the value. But we need teams that are able to vehiculate that value. We need sales engineers that help the customer appreciate the value through the trial process that we run. And ultimately, there need to be a match from a procurement and contracting perspective. I think one piece that helps us, the company is fully distributed, so we don't have any physical office, so we can hire anywhere our team, and so that gives us an edge in terms of access to talent. In terms, nowadays, I'm sure that in your job you see this every day. There is more and more requests for these, fully distributed work that enable you to have a lifestyle that you prefer. Right? So we have team members that are assigned to, for example, the Northeast in the US, but they spend some of their life in Florida. Some that are assigned to
classic, right?
Central US, and they spend time in Mexico. And then we have done many sales from north of Europe into south of Europe, from Europe to US. So long story short, most of our roles are work from anywhere, literally, like you can work from anywhere. Some are more regional in nature, maybe time zone specific for the developers, or maybe regional specific for the sales team. But still, we allow people to be, they don't need to come to an office. They don't need to, be in a specific city of their own.
You'll be surprised, though. I'm seeing more and more. I had a conversation before this whereby they want someone in the London office 2 days a week, right? And I'm talking about, by the way, I'm talking about development team, right? So the R&D team. And the problem is that they are now, like, they're restricting themselves, one, for the talent, yes, but also post-COVID, everybody's moved away from the cities for cost and other reasons, right? Be with families again. And then I was saying to them, I was like, hey, since you want the people in the office more often than not, the higher rate of people failing technical tests is because you're putting a higher preference on location versus actual skill set, and therefore you're going to have to accept that you're going to take a small drop in quality of developer, and that's a fact, and or take a lot longer to find the right person, or pay a lot more money. So it's good to hear, and it's good to hear that. Because I know a lot of your team, and there are some rock stars in there, and they are distributed quite globally, right? So let's go back to the tech very quickly, because you made a point around like the weather forecast and the kind of the predictive, preemptive threats 3 weeks before the threat happens or the attack happens, which is the median. If I'm the security professional, how do I receive that? Is it a login to the platform? Is it a report? Is it a phone call?
Yeah, so we provide two different products. The first one is a predictive attack intelligence, is a threat feed, so an API where the customer connect their security tools, firewall, anti-phishing filter, DNS resolver, web application filters, and so on. So it's a machine-to-machine connection where we feed the prediction, we augment those systems with it so that they can do the preemptive blocking. So there's nothing, once the setup is done at the beginning, then there's nothing to do, just observe the logs for what's being blocked. And then the second service product is a impersonation protection. So where we identify impersonation of the brand and executive and products across the internet to block those attacks targeting end users, suppliers, other stakeholders, employees, like phishing attack, account takeover, credential stealing. In this case, we not only provide the alert that indeed you can receive through our platform, and you can log in and see it and see how the process is doing. You can also receive it through the API into your SIEM, so that you don't have to have another pane of glass to look at. It's really more how the customer. You can receive it by email, by text message, on BlackBerry if you still have one. We can send it everywhere, no problem. But more importantly, we do the downstream preemption. What that means is we share this data with our partners like Google Safe Browsing, Microsoft Defender, VirusTotal, Code9. In less than 5 minutes, we isolate that malicious infrastructure away from 80% of the internet. So literally, we don't touch it. We're not offensive. We're not doing any DDoS or anything like that. We're just telling everybody else, don't talk to them, right? And this way we stop the traffic. And while we do that, we initiate a preemptive takedown. That means we go speak with the entire infrastructure providers, from the registrar to the registry, the cloud hosters, the the CDNs, the CERT and CCERT. Give them the data that come from our predictive models. And today, 90% of our preemptive takedowns are completed before content is loaded. No need of providing proof like screenshot and mail headers. All this administrative work that the security team used to do is gone. And that's why people love our infrastructure, because not only we do the prediction, not only we do the preemption, it's very, very lean in terms of effort from the security team. All of these by default is fully automated, no human in the loop. The system just run, is a service as a software, as we call it. You can, of course, trigger it in a manual mode with, flicking the switch, then getting into the client panel, have your interface, your reports, your notification. It's really, tailored to how much you want to be involved with it. We recommend no involvement. It gives the maximum speed, the least, effort. But some customer prefer for compliance reason or whatnot to be part of.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that about the, like, if you're implementing changes on your end, on like, say, would it be as basic as like implementing a change on a firewall, like a rule or a port, or if you're seeing that that port is now vulnerable for X, Y, whatever reason?
Yeah,
or do you have to wait for me to give you permission to do that?
The system does not use any data from our customer. So any integration we do with them is one way, like they download from us the new predictions. But all our prediction are using data on the public internet, either public data like DNS and BGP announcement, or private data like our calculation of jumping hosts and other specificities. So we would be observing infrastructure from the outside for their behavior to identify the criminal DevOps, if you want, and what they're doing to build their own infrastructure. But we don't need to know any single change you do into your own infrastructure as a customer. We don't care.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, fine. So talk to us about 2025. Like we mentioned earlier about the kind of pre-crime assistant that's actually on this call. Definitely want to go into that. Like what can we look forward to? What's the mission this year? As well as let's talk about pre-crime assistant.
Sure. We have, first of all, we have opened recently an MVP on and design partnership on the social media impersonation. So this is about, blocking WhatsApp fake accounts that impersonate the CEO of the company trying to scam their finance team. It is about fake LinkedIn accounts for, recruiters that then try to scam the potential hires. So that's we're getting a lot of interest. We already have paying customers on it, and I think the part that I love the most is, once again, we're doing detection. As soon as possible for those accounts being created. We're doing the takedowns with the platform very quickly and with no effort for our customers. So we take care of all the process. But we are doing also this disruption in the middle, in which we basically flood this account with all sort of crap content so that they cannot speak with victims, right? So we want to avoid the victims being made while we do the takedowns. So that's kind of the immediate work that we're doing, and GA for this is probably going to be early in the summer. But as you said, we have the pre-crime assistant here on the call. We have our prototype anti-deepfake solution for video conferencing call. What we are delivering is an ability to identify if a generated AI avatar is part of a video call or an audio call. And then what we want to do first, we want to signal it. So pre-crime assistant will start flashing red if me or you were avatars here in the call. But for our customers, we want to also give them a notification, say, hey, your CEO was involved, was replicated in this call. There were these other people attending, and we're going to drop the call in the next 20 seconds from the identification. So there will be, again, an interruption, disruption of the process. So the pre-crime assistant also does recording and note-taking, like all the other many tools that exist out there. That's kind of a side value. It will be freely available to anyone. So from the marketplaces, Zoom and Teams, and it's just going to be a free service. The free service will just notify by flashing red if there is an avatar in the call. The paid service is about the protection of the executive and that reporting and call dropping that we will do once we find that. So, it's basically an extension of our brand protection solution that cover also the deep fake, and that the MVP design partnership is going to, we have the prototype running. The MVP is probably going to be open during the summer for then a GA somewhere this time next year.
Amazing, exciting times for 2025.
Thank you.
Luigi, thank you for joining. I want to keep a close eye on BforeAI for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Josh, for the time and the interest, and definitely we'll do our best to continue to be the fastest and more preemptive solution out there.
Thank you, Luigi. Take care.